everybody! Thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Sarah and I'm on the education team at Teton Raptor Center. And today we're coming to you from our brand new education building. Right now I'm standing in the clinic, and today you'll see a couple different rooms in this building as we move through and you meet different birds and different members of the education team. Wait a minute, didn't I tell you you're going to meet another member of the education team? Amanda!
You called, Sarah? Oh, hey guys, I'm Amanda. I'm the other part of the education team.
What do we do at Teton Raptor Center? For those of you who've never been here or heard of us before, Teton Raptor Center is a nonprofit organization who advances the conservation of raptors through education, research, and rehabilitation. At Teton Raptor Center, we have three main pillars that make up what we do.
The education team is made up of 15 resident raptors that are non-releasable due to various injuries. Our resident raptors help us provide programming for thousands of people every year. They play a key role in highlighting the importance of conservation of their species.
Our rehabilitation team at Teton Raptor Center takes in ill, injured, and orphan raptors from the entire state of Wyoming and the eastern part of Idaho. Our rehabilitation team works hard to get these raptors healthy and back out into the wild. Here at the Raptor Center, the most common species to come into our rehabilitation center is a great horned owl. And the most common reason that birds come in is usually human-caused, either with a car collision or flying into a window, which we call a window strike.
Our research team works year-round studying wild populations of raptors. They conduct some of the most in-depth research in the world on specific species like great gray owls.
Wait a minute, what's a raptor?
Good question, Sarah. There are three specific characteristics that make a raptor a raptor. First, they eat meat and only meat. Second, their feet are incredibly powerful. They have so much power that they exert with these feet, and that's how they hunt. And third, they have an incredibly sharp beak that they use to tear the meat they eat. That rhymes. Meat, beak, and feet. That's the three things that make a raptor.
Thanks, Amanda. Now that we know what a raptor is, what kinds can we expect to see in the Greater Yellowstone ecosystem?
There are 5 categories of raptors in the Greater Yellowstone ecosystem: hawks, falcons, osprey, owls, and eagles.
Well, how many of those guys will come and visit us?
Over 30 unique species of raptors will call the Greater Yellowstone ecosystem home sometime during the year. We all know that the Greater Yellowstone ecosystem is an extremely special place, and that is especially evident in the amount of raptors that like to call this place home. You may be wondering, why do we only work with raptors as opposed to other types of birds like songbirds and waterfowl? That's because raptors are what we call an indicator or keystone species in their ecosystem. This means that if something is going wrong in the ecosystem, it is reflected in the population of raptors.
Hey everybody, this is Hunter. Hunter is our resident peregrine falcon. He hatched in May of 2016, which means he's 4 years old this year. You may be wondering why Hunter is a resident here at Teton Raptor Center. This guy hatched in 2016 and he comes to us from Omaha, Nebraska, where he hatched on the Woodman Life Tower. When Hunter was young in the nest, he suffered from an eye infection that made it really hard for him to see. So while he was supposed to be in bird school learning from mom and dad, he couldn't see anything they were trying to teach him. Because of this, when Hunter tried to fledge, or fly and leave the nest for the first time, he didn't do so well. He ended up landing on the ground near a road at the bottom of the building that he hatched on. After Hunter landed on the ground, luckily humans found him. They brought him into a rehabilitation center knowing that something was wrong, and sure enough, they were able to treat the eye infection that he had suffered from for so long. But because he had that eye infection for quite a long time, he suffered from some scarring on his retina, which means that Hunter still doesn't see very well. Although he doesn't see very well for a peregrine falcon, he still sees a lot better than we can, just not as well as an adult, healthy peregrine falcon should. For example, these guys, healthy in the wild, should be able to tell you your eye color from a football field away. Another amazing fact about falcons, and peregrine falcons specifically, is how fast they fly. These guys are the fastest living creatures on Earth. In a dive, peregrine falcons can reach speeds upwards of 242 miles an hour. You may be wondering, why do they need to go that fast? Well, peregrine falcons are pretty unique in the way that they hunt. These guys will dive at speeds upwards of 200 miles an hour in order to take out their prey. And the way they do that is with their feet. You can see these extremely long toes and a balled up foot right here. What peregrine falcons do to hunt is when they go into that dive, they pull up their feet, form a fist, and punch their prey out of the air. Ninjas. I have one more really cool attribute that I want to share with you guys that can be found on all falcon species. It is called the tomial notch. As we close up on his beak, you can see he's got a really sharp little spire right there on the end of his beak. Peregrine falcons and falcons in general will use this spire or tomial notch on the end of their beak in order to pull the heads off of their prey. And that, in the birdie business, is what we call a birdie can opener. Because of Hunter's history with his eye infection and the fact that his vision now is not as good as it should be, and because he missed most of bird school, this guy gets to live with us for the rest of his life. And in doing so, he helps me teach thousands of people every year.
Meet Otis. He is our resident eastern screech owl. He hatched in Alabama sometime before 2016. Otis is a victim of a collision, which is one of the most common reasons that raptors come into rehab centers. Due to the collision, Otis suffered head trauma, which led to vision issues. Due to his vision issues, Otis would have a hard time hunting and finding prey if he were in the wild. Due to these injuries, Otis is a member of our resident ambassador team. As a member of this team, Otis contributes to teaching the public about the importance of raptors in the wild. An interesting fact about eastern screech owls is they come in two different colors. Obviously, Otis is the gray coloration, but they also come in a red color too. This is different from the western screech owl, which are the exact same size, but only come in the gray color. We don't have eastern screech owls in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem, but we do have western screech owls. But we do have 4 owls in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem that are the same size or smaller than this guy.
Wait a minute, what?
That's right, those are the boreal owl, the northern saw-whet owl, the flammulated owl, and the northern pygmy owl. They range in size from the boreal owl, which is about the size of Otis, to the northern pygmy owl, which is about the size of a tube of chapstick.
Owls have some of the coolest adaptations of any raptor. For instance, they can fly almost completely silently.
Owl feathers have fringing on the ends of them, unlike other raptor feathers. These specialized feathers enable near-silent flight by altering air turbulence and absorbing noise. Owls also have the ability to turn their necks 270 degrees. So that's looking straight forward all the way around to their other shoulder. And they can do that both ways. The reason they have such a large range of motion is because they have twice the amount of vertebrae in their neck than humans do. We only have 7, whereas owls have 14. Owls possess this incredible range of motion because their eyeballs are actually fixed in their sockets. We as humans can move our eyeballs side to side without moving our head. But an owl can't do that. Their eyes are much larger and shaped differently. An owl's eyeball is actually shaped like a light bulb, and we are seeing the smallest part, or the part that would screw into a light socket.
This is Gus, Teton Raptor Center's resident golden eagle. Gus is one of the first 3 birds that we had as educational ambassadors here at Teton Raptor Center, and he has been educating with us for over 10 years. Gus joined our team because he sustained injuries in the nest when he was young. He hatched and either was stepped on by his parents while still in the nest, or he hatched with a malformation of the elbow joint. Either way, Gus cannot extend his right wing. With that extension in that wing, he has no ability of flight. While he can hop up about 3 feet, he does not have the ability to fly the way an eagle should fly to survive in the wild. We mentioned earlier that raptors have a really special ability with their feet. This guy is the king of foot strength. When I say the king of foot strength, I mean the most and the strongest foot strength of any raptor we have in North America. These guys come in at about 2,000 pounds per square inch of pressure that they can exert with their feet. You might think that 2,000 pounds per square inch seems like a lot of grip strength, but let's put it into perspective. A strong human being can grip at about 120 pounds per square inch, so he's got a lot more than we do. But let's compare it to a grizzly bear. A grizzly bear's grip strength or bite strength in their mouth should be about 1,200 pounds per square inch. So still, the golden eagle comes out on top. You may be wondering, what is this bird going to do with all that strength in his feet? Well, golden eagles are also incredible apex predators. These guys have no other competition other than each other and humans. So when it comes to hunting, they take out some pretty big prey. And when I say that these guys can go after some pretty big prey, I mean big. They can go after something the size of a jackrabbit, okay, but they can also go after something the size of a bighorn sheep. Golden eagles in the wild can go into a dive and hit speeds upwards of 150 miles an hour. This is how they take down that big prey. When they're in that dive, they become pretty much a cannonball. And once they're close to their prey, they pull their feet up and hit that prey off of a cliff, which happens to be bighorn sheep's favorite place to hang out. Not only are golden eagles incredibly strong and amazing apex predators, they also have the best vision of any raptor in North America. These guys can see movement at over 2 miles away, and that's movement of something about this big on a tree.
This is Hardiman. Hardiman is one of our 2 resident red-tailed hawks. Hardiman hatched in 2016, and within the first year of his life, he was unfortunately struck by a vehicle, an all too common story. Due to the head trauma from this collision, he lost vision in his right eye. Because he lost vision in that eye, he is not releasable to the wild and now has a permanent home in our education team. Hardiman is a relatively light-colored red-tailed hawk. Red-tailed hawks are actually found in over 14 different varieties of color throughout the United States, ranging from almost white to almost black. The red-tailed hawk is one of the most widely distributed of all raptors in North America. They have adapted the ability to call just about any habitat home. Their diet also varies widely. They can eat anything from amphibians to other birds to rodents, and even their favorite food, snakes. We don't quite know how they do this, but red-tailed hawks have the ability to determine if a snake is venomous. If it's venomous, they cut off the head and don't ingest it. Otherwise, they eat the whole snake. Thank you guys so much for giving a hoot about raptors. If you want to know more about what we do, visit our website, tetonraptorcenter.org, or find us on Facebook or Instagram. In the beginning of this video, we mentioned that this is a brand new facility, and we want to give you a special treat and take you through a virtual walkthrough. I'm going to pass you on over to our Executive Director, Amy. Take it away, Amy.
Welcome everyone to the beautiful and historic Mosley Hardiman Ranch here in the heart of downtown Wilson and home to Teton Raptor Center. I'm Amy McCarthy, Executive Director, and I am here with Hunter, our resident peregrine falcon. And we want to give you a little experience today behind the scenes of our new facilities. As many of you know, we've been here on this site since 2008 and purchased the property in 2017. Since then, we've embarked on a lot of infrastructure work to improve the sewer system, add culinary well, lots of improvements. Last year, the beautiful big barn behind me was placed on a new foundation, and its future is coming up here in a couple of years as a facility that will be open to the public for natural history program and live raptor programs. But today we are focused on what has happened in 2020, and it's a lot. We have 5 structures that are new and or improved, and we are inviting you inside today for a behind the scenes tour. Okay, right now we're here in the historic North Barn at the Hardiman property, which was retrofitted a few months back in the spring to provide homes for our resident raptors and our patients while their new homes were being built. It's worked for us for the last 8 months, but with the dark season and chilly times ahead with winter, we're so excited to have the birds move into their new homes. Welcome everyone to our new education building, the chambers for all of our avian ambassadors, like Manzana, our resident barn owl. She is one of 14 birds that has a new home in this facility, this beautiful facility. The thing I always want to share with everyone about this space is I can do this in here, and so can our birds. And that is something we didn't have before this building was created. And so this hallway is not just a hallway for accessing the birds, this is a hallway for exercising the birds, providing enrichment and different daily activities all throughout the year. So we're very excited about this new home, and we would love to show you what some of these chambers look like as well, so you can get a little window into what living at Teton Raptor Center might be like as an avian ambassador. We are still in our avian ambassador building, and this section of the new structure allows our team to be able to prepare food exclusively for our avian ambassadors. It also is a conditioned space, so some of our birds that may not be as comfortable this time of year in this environment have a little bit warmer space. So our falcons are actually back in this area, and this whole building, again, is dedicated to our resident raptors, the birds that are with us 365 days a year, go out to programs, true teachers about the wild. And it was critical in this project that we create a space dedicated to them, and then an equally dedicated space for our patients and the clinical work that happens at Teton Raptor Center. Not only because it's a best practice, it's also what we need to do for our permits, and we now have just beautiful spaces, as you can see, to do that really well. So we are now inside our lovingly restored pump house. This building dates back to the 1940s and was actually the pump house on the Mosley Hardiman Ranch, where the prized Herefords were showered off to go into the auction arena. As you can see right now, it is a work zone for us right now, but in just a few weeks, as we finish off all of this project, we will be using this area to store food and freezers, kennels, perches, all things that support taking care of the birds. Welcome everyone to the brand new state-of-the-art clinic. This building is double the size of our former clinic. And right next door here is our new exam room. So here we have a wet table, all sorts of diagnostic equipment, our x-ray room for digital x-ray. We also have an oxygen chamber where our birds that are in our ICU reside while they're in care. This section of our clinic space is for food preparation. As many of you know, mice, rats, chicken, quail are on the menu here at Teton Raptor Center. And now we have a great space for that preparation that is not in the exam area. We also have a office space in here, bathroom, laundry facilities, and down the hallway is our rehab chambers for the patients that are in-house right now. Okay, we're now inside the hallway of our rehab chambers. This building is for our patients, the birds that are injured, ill, and orphaned that come to us for care. This building is attached to our brand new clinic, but this particular facility was actually built in 2014 and here on the property at the Hardiman Ranch, and then we moved it in 2020 to become part of the overall bird care facility project. So in each of these rooms, we have individual patients that are cared for each and every day by our team of staff and volunteers. Well, Hardiman is saying hello. We are outside here. Behind me is the finale piece of our 2020 scope of work, all dedicated to the birds. The building behind me is the flight barn. Although it's not a space that this guy here, Hardiman, our resident red-tailed hawk, one of two, we'll be spending time in. It is a space that our recovering raptors hopefully will aspire to get into because it is the last stop on their rehabilitation journey. So the space behind me is designed like a race course. So birds that go in there are able to fly round and round as often as they like, as much as they want, and start that recovery process and build their muscle and their stamina to get back to the wild. What makes this building so exciting is that we presently help birds get back to the wild by placing them on a long tether about 100 feet, going out into the fields here around the Hardiman Ranch and evaluating them doing test flights. In this space behind me, they're going to be able to do that on their own. And both you and I can watch them. We are going to install some webcams in this space so we can be really minimal about our human interface with these birds, because really the next step in the journey is going back to the wild. Hunter and I want to thank you for joining us for a behind-the-scenes tour of our new and improved bird care facilities today, made possible by the support of so many people. We thank our donors and our friends and our volunteers, staff. So many people made this possible, including all of the workers that have been out here this season. And now we're gearing up for 2021. Next up, we'll be focused on structures that will support our staff and make our work here much more efficient. And stay tuned for 2022, when the building behind me, the historic North Barn, will be part of that phase, the finale phase of this site improvement project, where we will open the doors to that space for public programming. If you'd like to be part of the future of raptor conservation and keeping wild birds wild, we'd love for you to join us in this effort. Find out more at tetonraptorcenter.org.